Chris Dailey, alongside Chris Dailey.
I'm here with our own Chris Dailey.
Chris Dailey segment.
I'm Chris Dailey. Across the street from the University of Notre Dame sits Holy Cross College, a small school best known for its role in the movie Rudy. The story of the ultimate underdog, Daniel Rudy Rudiger, a scrappy, undersized kid who transfers. But the stickiness of it, it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
I think after being around so many marshmallows, all I want for Christmas is a 12-pack of marshmallows, of course. 12-pack of marshmallows. Yeah, I know my mom's watching.
Got it.
That's it. Since graduating in 2025, former Notre Dame pitcher Clark Gilmore has left baseball for banana ball. Jarrett Stidham was the starting quarterback in that game. Only 10-7, kind of a snooze fest. I think I might have even went to sleep at some point in that game. And while it's so fun to talk about the nitty and gritty of New England and Seattle, we would be remiss not to check in on a Golden Domer who's making his mark in the NFL.
Yeah, exciting times to be an Irish fan. I'll tell you, I'm excited for the team, but looking at those highlights, I'm excited for those green jerseys to come back too. Those are pretty sweet. And Brendan, how about yourself?
Knute Rockne is one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, and he's also the only college football coach to have a town named after himself. Just north of Austin is a small town of 400 called Rockne, Texas, even though the great Knute, he's never been there. However, they're not old enough to remember. Heck, I'm not old enough to remember. I'm a sophomore born in 2005, way back in 1993. And Lena, look at that, we got a biker. Hello, how are you? Okay, nice to see you. But Jack, one of the most prominent leaders on Notre Dame football staff is far from your typical coach. You see, while most teach about X's and O's, this one teaches about the faith. Love currently third in the odds behind Mendoza and Pavia, but hey, never say never. The award, after all, is for the most outstanding player in college football, and many say Jeremiah Love is exactly that. On March 8th, lifelong Notre Dame fan Pat McGarry will begin a 43-day cross-country bike ride with a goal to raise $100,000 for Tunnel to Towers Foundation along the way. A promise born on September 11th, 2001, the day his sister Katie, a 30-year-old newlywed full of life, was killed on the North Tower's top floor. The Notre Dame football program has made history this year, but not for anything on the field, at least not yet. To find this moment of history, you have to venture to the sidelines, where there's a figure in all green attire seen hyping up the crowd. That would be the Notre Dame Leprechaun, a role that since its first official season in 1965 has been held by a male. But this season, the mold is broken. Notre Dame senior McKenna Engelhardt now dons the iconic green hat, a groundbreaking feat that's redefining tradition. For McKenna, this moment is destiny, a culmination of a lifelong love for the Irish.
So I actually grew up going to the Notre Dame Stanford games every other year in my hometown of Palo Alto. So I definitely was raised on the Irish. Both of my parents went here, but because of that, I kind of felt like they were brainwashing me. But I really fell in love with the school on my own, going through the college admissions process and coming here on campus for an admitted students day. I met some of my best friends to this day.
McKenna's love for the Irish led her to Notre Dame's annual Leprechaun tryouts, something that initially started out as a lighthearted experiment.
I honestly kind of tried out at first as a joke with my friends. We thought it was really funny how a lot of my attributes on my resume and stuff applied a lot more to a leprechaun than an engineering internship. And one thing led to another, but it was really exciting to have them show up in my room and to get to tell all my friends and family that didn't really know I was going through this tryout process. And it was amazing to be welcomed in right away to the entire cheer team and the other 4 leprechauns.
What started as a joke has since turned into history. For more than 60 years, the role of the leprechaun has been woven into the identity of Notre Dame football. McKenna is now Notre Dame's first female lead football leprechaun.
It truly means so much. I think all of us here at Notre Dame know all the diversity and everything that goes up into making up this school, but having the opportunity to represent that at a football game means so much just because there's so many people that come in for it. It's also been really special. I've gotten to meet the other 3 women that were leprechauns both with me and before me. So it really feels like it's been the journey of all of us together that's really gotten me to this point now.
All of these experiences have shaped McKenna into who she is and what she stands for. Finding what you're passionate about and not looking back.
I think it's really just being focused on what you care about and are passionate about And if you have a passion for something like your love of Notre Dame or sports or whatever that is, and stay true to that, people will really see that and appreciate that. And it's a great opportunity for them to see it and then be able to share it with others.
McKenna's love for Notre Dame is clear. A mechanical engineering student, she's set to graduate in May, but for the time being can be seen each weekend in front of tens of thousands doing what she loves. A trailblazer and a history maker, Leprechaun McKenna is the heart and soul of the Notre Dame football program. From MMJ Sports, I'm Chris Dailey. More than 8,000 miles separate the University of Notre Dame and the country of Bangladesh. Different cultures, different lifestyles, different worlds. But for the past 96 years, through an annual boxing tournament right here on campus, that distance has disappeared. Founded by legendary Irish coach Knute Rockne, Bengal Bouts has raised millions of dollars to support Holy Cross missions in Bangladesh, building schools, funding health clinics, and providing education for students living on less than $2 a day. In a place where tradition and sports rule, Bengal Bouts is the embodiment of everything that makes Notre Dame so unique.
Yeah, so essentially what we do is we are, how I like to say it, what Notre Dame provides to us here as students in terms of education, educating the mind, body, and spirit. That's essentially what we're able to provide for those Catholic schools in Bangladesh. Because it's a smoker event, right? It's a boxing tournament that fundraises money for charity. All of that money is going to them. It's helping support their education, making sure that they actually have scholarships to send kids to the actual Catholic schools that they provide.
While the Bengal Bouts mission changes lives thousands of miles away, it also shapes the hearts and minds of the boxers brave enough to step into the ring.
I think everyone comes into this club for selfish reasons, and I don't think you can necessarily blame those people. Boxing is a naturally individualistic sport, and that's just kind of the person it attracts. But I think as you go through this program specifically, it definitely changes your perspective on who you're actually impacting, and then what you actually end up fighting for.
For many of the fighters, finding that bigger purpose starts with becoming a better version of themselves.
It was never about, trying to win or beat the guy I was going against. It was just how good could I execute what I did in practice, and how good of a boxer could I be for myself. Practicing and competing against yourself is something that I try and do in the classroom or just in all facets of my life, is just trying to get better at something, a little bit every day, and that just requires a good attitude and effort.
After months of preparation, Bengal Bouts hosts its annual 3-round tournament throughout February and March. Paulus calls on all students to come out and support the mission.
Come and watch the boxers. They put in a lot of work, not just in this spring semester, but in the fall semester too. And watch everything culminate in terms of, I think, what really Notre Dame asks of all of its students. Really how Notre Dame asks us to learn to transform ourselves in terms of mind, body, and spirit. I think that truly happens in one place, and I think it's here, and it's all in one, kind of wrapped in a bow with Bengal Bouts.
The 96th annual Bengal Bouts semifinals will take place on February 24th in the Dailey Ballroom, with the finals being held on March 28th at Purcell Pavilion, both starting at 7 p.m. Come out, cheer on the fighters, and support a mission that's changing lives in one of the world's most underserved communities. From NDTV, I'm Chris Dailey.
Listening to the Daily Dowens on WVFI, the voice of the Fighting Irish.
.603 on a Monday night. We welcome you into the Daily Dowens. I'm Chris Dailey, joined as always by the man himself, David Owens.
Yours
David,
truly.
Great to be back with you, man. Big show today. We got a lot to talk about.
It was a great day to have a show, considering the amount of basketball we saw last night. My goodness, the madness is back in March. That was an incredible tournament from both sides, men's and women's. Some incredible ball was had.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it all, but you got to start. UConn and Duke.
Oh, of course.
David, one of the craziest games I've ever witnessed, something we're going to be talking about for years to come. Dan Hurley's 2-seeded Huskies, John Shire's 1-seeded Blue Devils. Duke looked in complete control early. They were up 19 late in the first half. UConn couldn't really buy themselves a basket. They missed 17 of their first 18 three-point attempts. Duke took a 15-point lead in a half. From there, UConn slowly but surely chipped away. With 10 minutes left, it was down to 9. With 10 seconds left, the deficit was down to 2. A 72-70 game, and this is where the magic happened, my friends. Off an inbound underneath the basket, Duke worked the ball up to Caden Boozer just beneath half court. And instead of holding on to the ball with 6.5 seconds left, getting fouled and going to the line to seal the deal, he attempts to heave it down the court. The heave was deflected. Freshman Balin Mullins steals it. He gives it off to the experienced Alex Caraban, a guy who's a senior. He's won 2 national championships. And instead of taking the shot himself, offloads it back to the youngster Mullins. Mullins chucks up a 3 from 35 feet away, and the swish was as pure as it gets. The madness was as March as it gets, David. UConn wins 73-72. This is March. And where does this rank amongst the all-time great moments in this awesome tournament?
Well, I think this is at least got to be top 5 in my life. I think you at least, for this tournament, got to rename it from March Madness to Mullins Madness. The Huskies looked hot yesterday, and they kept up with easily the best basketball system this season has seen. Duke came into this tournament hot, not undefeated, I will say, but they came into this tournament looking like the clear front runner, and Dalen Hurley got it done last night. This is a team looking to go all the way, and it starts right there with that shot. That was by chance, but they are not in this tournament by chance whatsoever.
No, this is a team that is seeking their 3rd national title in 4 years. Meanwhile, for Jon Scheyer and Duke, there's been a lot of talk about his coaching performance last night, especially considering how UNC parted ways with Hubert Davis. I've heard a lot of speculation that Scheyer's seat may be hot. Now listen, he's guided Duke to 70 regular season wins over the past 2 years, but curious to hear what you think. Was this because of Scheyer last night and because of coaching, and could you see a world where Duke maybe says, hey, let's go with something new here?
I would say coaching-wise, no. It's not a situation that Duke needs to be worried about. They haven't brought home the title, but either way, Scheyer is 100% the reason why they are there. You have great talent like Cooper Flagg, Cameron Boozer. They would not be as great as they are today without Scheyer's guidance. They came out of high school still very exciting and promising, but they did not have the completeness that the Blue Devils gave them. These are 2 star athletes that have led their team all the way, and even though it might have been a little bit of a rotational problem, Jon Scheyer has been nothing but perfection this entire season. We saw them come into this year as against Notre Dame in South Bend, and they wiped the floor with the Fighting Irish. It was not even close from the minute it started. I believe Notre Dame was up by 4 early on in the game, something like that, and then after that, it was no funny business for the Blue Devils. They took that one easily. It was clearly Scheyer's doing.
The biggest loss at home in Notre Dame men's basketball history. Now, you mentioned Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer, 2 national players of the year back-to-back, but he's got no rings to show for it. Now, listen, that's all about Jon Scheyer. Meanwhile, for UConn, not many people were expecting them to beat Duke, or let alone even be here in the Final Four. Do you think the Huskies can now prevail?
The world's tallest pitcher. Please welcome.
This is Dakota Stilts Albritton, the tallest baseball player in the world, gearing up to pitch for the Savannah Bananas. Stilts has become one of the Bananas' biggest attractions, but what many don't know is that his unique role in Banana Ball traces back to the league's newest team, the Indianapolis Clowns. You see, while the Clowns just joined the Banana Ball Championship League, their roots stretch back more than 70 years to a time when they were home to 2 of the smallest players in baseball history, Spec Bebop and D-Row Alston, 2 men who helped shape the weird, wacky, and beautiful world of barnstorming baseball. Spec starred for the Clowns in the 50s. 4'6", swinging a 6-foot bat, he became one of the Clowns' star comedy acts, often entertaining the crowd in between innings. Then in the 60s, the Clowns were looking to recreate that magic, so they signed D-Row Alston. Standing at 2'7", Alston was often penciled in as the Clowns' leadoff batter, with Satchel Paige pitching to him. These 2 men, just 7'1" combined, became sensations for the original Indianapolis Clowns, the first team to truly blend baseball and spectacle. Decades later, through Stilts, their legacy lives on.